guys and girls. Okay, let's do this. First, we start with using packet tracer plus best practices. Okay, so please take note of everything that I'll be doing here. I will be very strict in grading, especially the diagram. Why is it important that we do the proper labeling and in a way that is not confusing? Number one is for ourselves. When we do configuration, and if you properly label the interfaces here, it will be easy for you to configure. And the second one is most of the time, if we're working, we're usually in a team. So when you do a diagram, make sure that your teammate is not going to get lost. And so I also have the naming convention here. This is also what I'd like you to do in all your exercises in the future. For me to know that you are doing it yourself, I want to see your names here, especially in the names of the routers and the switches. So, for example, your name, for example, is Carlo Acutis. Tipong Santo, no? IT genius, the newest saint of the Catholic Church, a millennial. Okay, so I want to see your initial for your first name, C for Carlo, and Acutis for your last name. Underscore, and then here, because this is a Manila router, I put MLA underscore R1. And then this is for the main office. For the remote office, uh, C Acutis underscore Cebu underscore R2. So this one has to be very clear. And the same thing with the naming convention of the switches. Okay, let's start with this one. So how do we actually start with putting together this diagram? Okay, let's start from scratch. Let's start with putting in a router. Okay. Oops, I didn't choose it. So the default is a 1941 router. But let me just get another one, a bigger one. Here. So this is an ISR 4321 router. So what is an ISR 4321 router? I hope you get a little bit curious and you can actually Google it. What is a Cisco ISR 4321? It's an integrated services router designed to deliver advanced services to small enterprise branch environment. So it says here branch, but we are going to use this for the main office. Maybe it's a small company. Okay, so just put this aside. And so this is our router. What do we do with our router? We open it up and see what do you have here. As you can see here, I hope you can see, there's nothing here. There's a big slot here that's does not have anything in it. But you already have Ethernet ports. Okay, you have Ethernet ports, you have console ports. You need something to connect it to another router. Otherwise, you cannot do that. So let's look at the modules. You would have to add modules. Okay, so this is the basic one, the NIM-2T. So what is it? It's a two-port multi-protocol synchronous serial NIM. So you have here a serial module. So this one you can use to connect to the other serial port of another router. So let's put it here. We have, Chadan! Cannot add a module when the power is on. So always don't forget to turn the power off. Okay, and then you put in the module and then you turn it on again. So that's your router, first router. And then how about put in another router? So yeah, let's just use a smaller router for the branch office in Cebu, for example. So we click it again and then, okay, so you have Ethernet ports as well, but you have two blank spaces for possible for two modules. So what we're looking at here, okay, HWIC. What is HWIC? I hope you can be a little more curious there, and let's Google it. No, how do you Google it? You just say, what is a Cisco HWIC? card. So it is a card. It is a one card. No, high speed. One interface card. Okay. So one wide area network, you know that connects to another router. So let's put it here. Um, Yeah, you have something here. One small form factor pluggable SFP slot. What is an SFP slot? Yeah, you just check it out. You just Google it, and it says here what are SFP parts used for. Okay, so these are industry standard Cisco small form factor pluggable gigabit interface converter. So links your switches and routers to the network. So that would be connection to switches and routers. So FSFP would not be connecting to another um, to another router. So let's just but again, if you take a look at here, you already have Ethernet ports, and for our exercise today, we just or every for this particular exercise, we will just connect this to one computer or one switch. So we don't need that. Let's do simple. This one HWIC high speed one interface card, two port serial high speed one, providing two serial ports. So this one should be good. So I put it here. Chajan! Of course, you cannot add the module when the power is on. So you have to turn off first your power before you add it here. Okay, so let's close this, and now you can connect your two routers. So you go to connections, and this is going to be your main router, uh, the DCE. DCE would be this one. So let's connect this using just go ahead and usually start with the first serial port now. 010, you choose that one, then you just add it here, another 010. There you go. So that is already connecting the two. Don't forget, um, you need to label this properly. Okay, so what was our naming convention here? So you have Kakutis underscore Manila R1. So you can do that. Actually, you can do it here. Config, say Kakutis underscore Manila underscore R1. This diagram. So close this one, and you have it in there. And for this one, you do the same thing. You just go to the config. It says here the power. It has to be powered on, so we turn it on. Device is still booting. So this is the first time that you use a a router, it will do the whole booting sequence. It says here, please wait until it is finished. You have to be patient with this one. Okay, and then you will be asked here, would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog, yes or no? No, because we are not going to use wizards in configuration. So yeah, this one, return, get started. So this is your router. Um, Before we do that, make sure before you do any configuration, you have to make sure that you label properly. So first, again here, what is the name that we will put here? Naming convention, C Akutis underscore, this is Cebu, and call it router 2. Okay, so I'm now going to label this. How do I label? How do I know which interface it is? So no need to guess. You just go to options preferences. You can actually turn off this one, show device model labels. No need, we don't need that one, but we will need this one. Always show port labels in logical workspace. We will need this temporarily, so just so we know what port it is. So that's serial 010, and this is serial 010. We put in, wait, let's check what is the IP address for the Cebu router is 100.100.100.1. Okay, let's do that one. So here, for this is your serial 010, and then the IP address is 100.100.100.1. Let's do a /30 because this is a point to point. And then for the other one, let's do the same. Serial 010, and our IP address is 100.100.100. Oh, sorry. We will have, this is the main router, so the main router always has a .1, so we will change this one to, okay, what is this? We'll change this one to .2. Okay, then let's just move this up a little bit. Yeah, maybe just put it down here. There you go. But now you don't need this anymore because you already put S010, so you can just turn it off for now. So that it looks quite nice. Okay, so go ahead and continue with the labeling. So this has to be looking like this, so that it would be very good for you, very easy for you to do configurations. A lot of problems with configuration is the interface number. Not putting the proper interface number or the wrong IP addresses. These are the more common ones. So if you have proper drawing, it will be very easy for you to configure. And on the practical side, especially when you are working in the industry, usually you work in a team. So you make sure that your teammates would know what are the config or how to configure properly, or during troubleshooting, it is very, very good if you have a proper diagram, so it will be much easier for you. So right now you can just see that you have red in here and you have green in here. Later on we will do with the actual configurations. I will discuss this in more detail. Okay, so best practice is to, before you make any configuration, make sure you do the labeling properly.